Good morning. Welcome to Business Equity and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. This is the first Sunday in August, which is National Black Business Month. According to a 2024 Small Business Administration report, black business owners own 3.5 million businesses and employ more than 1.2 million people across the United States. National Black Business Month began back in 2004 as a way to celebrate black-owned businesses and the roles they play in building the economies in their communities. It's also become a rallying point for supporting black businesses across our communities. This station and our show will mark the month with feature stories about and from a number of entrepreneurs and locally owned black businesses. You'll find them included in our segments that cover getting started, how to access capital, accounting and bookkeeping tips, keeping tabs on the week in business, insights into running your business day to day. We focus on an industry each week and share some success stories. We're here every Sunday on Wish TV and streaming live, wishtv.com. And big news this week, we've just launched our new Business Equity and Opportunities YouTube channel. It is at the BEO Show. It'll become a permanent home for every full episode of Business Equity and Opportunities. You'll also find individual segments and coming soon, some exclusive behind-the-scenes content. Frankly, I'm a little nervous about that. But the QR code that'll pop up through our show will conveniently take you to our website. There you can find a link to the YouTube channel and to our weekly newsletter. It's free. Also subscribe and watch. It'll help keep us providing local content to you as well. All that said, here's what's coming up this hour on Business Equity and Opportunity. We have more interviews from this year's Indiana Black Expo Summer Celebration. Angela B. Freeman shares tips on how to keep your trade secrets safe. We kick off National Black Business Month with the Indy Black Chamber and meet a Purdue professor who's also an inspiring author, inspiring young minds. This week we are getting started with a visit to a Catapult camp from Conexus, Indiana. It's inside the Machine Makerspace workshop at 16 Tech. There, high school students build and work on things like Lego cars to learn about car assembly and manufacturing careers that in real life average $91,000 a year. State figures indicate more than 500,000 people in Indiana work in manufacturing.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Getting started.
Hi, my name is PJ McGrew, and I am the Senior Vice President of Talent Strategy and Programming at Conexus, Indiana. Yeah, so behind us is our Catapult Indiana program. We've partnered with TeamWorks and Skilled US to deliver that here at this location. It's a manufacturing fundamentals curriculum that gets students introduced to manufacturing, and then they can apply those skills throughout their entire career in manufacturing. Yeah, so our students they're learning those basic principles. They can move right into employment after completing our program, or they can move on to post-secondary to earn some additional skills. We partner with Ivy Tech to where this counts towards 7 credits in their manufacturing program. So regardless if a student wants to go direct to employment or continue their education, this program really works for them. And you think about the manufacturing industry as a whole, that's about 35% of Indiana's GDP and about 25% of its employment. Yeah, the great thing about this program is that it was designed by Indiana employers, and so we know the skills that they're looking for, and so that's really setting these students up for success once they graduate the program.
What is Catapult? Well, Conexus Catapult is a program that we have to provide the community with special skills, extra skills that they already have, but we want to fine-tune them, such as being awareness of safety, such as introduction to OSHA, also critical thinking. We have several classes that we do, and also introduction to lean manufacturing at a smaller scale by using Legos and exercises, so that they can understand the process improvement of a company. And these skills are also used in every business, small business, large business, and so on, and make them aware of things that they do every day, but they don't understand the name. And by providing a name and a skill, that would be easier for them to understand and use in case they look for opportunities in the business. It's not only used in the industry, but any job. Well, it's important first because we want to make sure that they understand what they're doing, understand what quality is, how can they support, and what they bring to the table to any industry, any company. Well, other than just being there, they have skills, and we provide skills they can use tools. Tools are what I call put them in your toolbox, so later on you can bring them out and present them to your employer or anybody that may need those skills. Be familiar with what they have and support the community and the industry. With today's new technology, this improvement is great, but the fundamentals of manufacturing are still the same. One, understand quality, understand what the customer wants, understand the tools that we have in order to fulfill our goal and our customers. If you understand all those immediately and understand it, technology is an addition. So if the students or the individual understand those fundamentals of lean manufacturing, what it means, I think it's a great asset for any company that may look for somebody who's willing to work, because they see the product, but they don't see how the product is made. Communication and give them those skills to communicate. The benefits from this program, like I said, is to have the students understand the fundamentals of anything from industry, from safety, from standardization, and all that. We have had many successful stories with the program outside teamwork, in which the opportunities that we provide are taken by companies they looking for people, and some of them actually have been not only part of the employers but also have had supervisors position in time being. So they give credit to what they learned from us so they can bring it to them.
Yeah, I think the great thing about our program is that it's really helping with the retention rate of our students that graduate and go into employment. One of the things that we hear from many manufacturers is that there's a lot of turnover, in particular in our production jobs. What they're seeing, our students are really prepared to come in, find success, and then stay with that company once they find employment. Oh yeah, you know, for me, coming over, I just joined Conexus in December of this year. I've been aware of this program for a number of years from my time in state government. So to see it firsthand, to interact with these students, talk to the employers that are hiring these students, I mean, it's super rewarding and satisfying to see the impact that we're having on the lives of these young people.
Up next, we catch up with the owner of Sweetie's Candy Boutique and Emporium, who shares how IBE business opportunities have helped her business grow. And coming up later.
Yeah, so in 2013, I started a security company, uniformed guards, off-duty police officers. And I joined the Indy Chamber. I got a lot of business out of the Indy Chamber. And so they had a Hispanic chamber. And so I asked, how come we don't have a black chamber? You know, and they said, you know, that was just something they weren't interested in doing. And so we looked around and saw that Anderson, Indiana had a black chamber, and they had been around for 10 years. It was ran by Reverend Hunt, and Reverend Hunt passed away this year. And so that was my mentor, and he helped us start the Indy Black Chamber in 2015. And now, you know, we started with 0 people, and now we're over 450 members right now. So, you know, we are now 3 times bigger than Anderson. So, you know, the student became the teacher, and so now we've been working together to grow not just the city of Indianapolis, but the state of Indianapolis itself.
Welcome back. We first introduced you to Tiffany Johnson Bass at last year's Indiana Black Expo Summer Celebration. She owns Sweetie's Candy Boutique and Emporium in Brownsburg. She was back this year and has news on how her business has grown and her success at a local PitchFeast competition's part of it.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Access to Capital.
My name is Tiffany Johnson Bass. I'm the owner of Sweetie's Candy Boutique and Emporium, which is located in Brownsburg, Indiana. I'm also the board chairwoman of the Asante Arts Institute. So since the last we met, I was the winner, the recipient of a $15,000 grant from PitchFeast. I did that and I won that. I won second place. It's pretty cool. I've also started doing different partnerships with realtors around the city. doing Welcome Home Lux Crates. I recently found out on my birthday, which was last Wednesday, turned 50, that I was certified with the city as a minority and women-owned business. So things are moving, There is a lot of stuff going on here. I usually come, last year was my first experience, and it was pretty good. The week was changed, so it was like a lower crowd, lower population. But with this being this week, then it's supposed to be like super. We have so much going on. I've met a lot of different connections coming to Expo, as well as new customers, build new relationships. And I enjoy just being social in this environment. There's so many different things it offers for an entrepreneur, for families, for everything, so I like it. Networking is key. It's always about the rooms that you're in, which allows you to build more relationships, which helps you create revenue, and also education, just continuing being in the entrepreneur realm and going to different cohorts, staying connected to the ones that I'm with. I think that's helped me build along the path that I'm on. My biggest thing is working on marketing. That's not my niche, but I am doing it a lot more. And AI has really benefited me here recently. I love AI. There are a lot of resources. I've been to several cohorts, and a lot of them start, at the basis and go up. But what we find, along with other people that are entrepreneurs, is that there's not too many that are in the middle going upwards. And so people are in different stages. There are some that offer different stage platforms, but not when you're like in between 2 and 5 year stage. So, but from going to the various ones, I do use a lot of the resources. I make sure I stay connected, which allows me to stay viable and learn different stuff. So my kids are like the biggest thing that keeps me going to create a legacy. That's why I started it, was so we could create a legacy for my family to continue on. And they're the ones that have probably kept me going.
Sweeties placed second in the 2024 IMPACT Central Indiana PitchFeast competition. Runner-up ain't bad. The prize is $15,000 in startup capital. You can help celebrate local Black-owned businesses like Sweeties Candy with a visit to Satisfy Your Sweet Tooth this month especially. If you want to keep track of how publicly traded companies in Indiana are doing, you can now find out real-time stock information on our new Business Equity and Opportunities stock ticker. Look for it at the top of our landing page. Follow the QR code. It'll get you right there. Coming up, we kick off National Black Business Month with a visit and a history lesson from the Indy Black Chamber.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome back. Larry Williams Jr. is founder and executive director of the Indy Black Chamber. He shares with us how the chamber got started and what it's doing this month for Black-owned businesses.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
My name is Larry Williams. I am the co-founder and president and CEO of the Indy Black Chamber of Commerce. So the Black Chamber is a place where Black businesses can come and we try to grow them, we try to educate them, and we try to make sure they have everything they need to be successful business. Yeah, so this is August is Black Business Month. And so here at the Chamber, we are going to spotlight a business every day of the month. We also have an event where we partner with the First Internet Bank, and we'll have it August 19th at 6 o'clock. It's called the Backyard Mixer. And so we also have our awards banquet August 24th, and that's our 10-year anniversary. So we got a couple things going on in August. Yes, it's a great time for people to network, grow each other, learning what each other does, and I mean, that's the way we'll grow our community, is working together. Yeah, so we have classes where it's called a parachute class. It's a 4-week class for people who are starting a business or thinking about a business. We have a 10-week course for someone who's been in business longer than 2 years. And at the end of that, we do a pitch night and we award them $3,000, $2,000, $1,000 to the top 3 people. We also have a loan program where we loan up to $10,000 because a lot of our business have a hard time getting money from banks. And so we're not a bank, so we started our own fund to help fund black businesses. Yes, it is free. We do have some stipend where people need to put in just a little bit. If you just offer free things and people don't take it, they take it for granted. So we need for them to have some skin in the game so that they take it with more responsibility. Yes, we're here to grow black business through entrepreneurship. So whatever things, walls that come up, restrictions that come up, we're here to help you get through that. We also want to be a safe space for you to come and say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on. Please help me. We also want to connect them to, contracts, to resources, and to also counselors to help them grow. Yes, so we also have mentors for people who have grown their company and they come back and help bring other people with them. We also are working with a CCE. It's a partnership with the Indy Chamber, with Indiana University and Mid-States. And we're focused on 15 businesses and we're directly growing them, holding their hand and letting them grow as a partnership. Yeah, so in 2013, I started a security company, uniformed guards, off-duty police officers. And I joined the Indy Chamber. I got a lot of business out of the Indy Chamber. And so they had a Hispanic chamber. And so I asked, how come we don't have a black chamber? And they said, that was just something they weren't interested in doing. And so we looked around and saw that Anderson, Indiana had a black chamber, and they had been around for 10 years. It was ran by Reverend Hunt, and Reverend Hunt passed away this year. And so that was my mentor, and he helped us start the Indy Black Chamber in 2015. And now, we started with 0 people, and now we're over 450 members right now. So, we are now 3 times bigger than Anderson. So, the student became the teacher. And so, now, we've been working together to grow not just the city of Indianapolis, but the state of Indianapolis itself. It is a personal thing because, IBE and, the Urban League, they've been around 50 years. For us to make it 10 years has been amazing to us, and I'm impressed with that, just myself. And so I'm glad that what we're doing is working. It has changed the landscape of Indianapolis. I would tell you, no one was doing black business before COVID. So when COVID hit, everybody recognized, hey, we can't help the black community without helping the black businesses. And so we've had, numerous new organizations come up, and even, the older organizations now focus on black business. And so that has changed the landscape of Indianapolis.
Marshawn Wolley is a frequent contributor to Business Equity and Opportunities. Up next, as founder and CEO of Black Onyx Management, he tells us what he'll be watching coming out of the legislative sessions. That's coming up. Then, later.
So a trade secret can truly be anything, but again, anything can be protected. What you really want to spend your time protecting are the things that will negatively affect your business. So things like customer lists, vendor partners, recipes. If you're a restaurant, you want to keep your recipe secret. That's a secret. Anything. A trade secret can truly be anything that adds value to your business or anything you would not want a competitor to know because it would give them a competitive advantage on your business. And again, that can truly be anything. So when you're thinking about what may I need to protect via trade secret, think about all the things you wouldn't want a competitor to know about your business. Pricing. Again, vendors, suppliers, partners, those kind of things. Those are the things that I would suggest you consider protecting via trade secret.
This Week in Business is made possible by Indy Biz Pass. This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome back. Black Onyx Management was at the Indiana Black Expo Summer Celebration to connect with community and businesses that may benefit from data-rich research projects. Black Onyx keeps an eye on the top issues in legislative sessions that will affect both community organizations and small business owners. Marshawn Wolley is the founder and CEO. He took a few minutes away from the Black Onyx booth to fill us in.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Accounting and Bookkeeping.
So Black Onyx Management is a management consultancy that's focused on the community. People come to us when they're looking to understand a population or a community. It usually for us starts with research or designing a program. So we're out in the community today at Indiana Black Expo to meet the community, to engage. We have a survey and other interactive opportunities to engage with us. And so we're just happy to be here. So we actually just completed the policy summit. And what we were doing was gathering data about priorities from the African American community with the upcoming legislative session coming up. So we know that there's concerns about housing, about minority business, as well as Medicaid and Medicare, as well as mental health. So this upcoming legislative session, we anticipate movement on workforce housing. We're hoping to understand what's going to happen with XBE programs. And then we also are concerned about what's happening with mental health funding and as well as Medicaid funding. And so those are some top issues that we're trying to gather more information about from the community because we anticipate there'll be top issues in this upcoming legislative session. So a company that we partner with quite often is Crossroads Public Affairs. It's a full service lobbying firm that actually pays attention to the key legislative issues that are important to my business. And so that's what we do. I think it's the work that we're doing that's going across the state. And so we have projects where we're in specific counties, but then we also have campaigns and issues that are going across the state. And so whether it's mental health or talking about business credit for businesses or policy just more generally as it impacts different communities, it's getting the opportunity to touch the state broadly that I'm just really excited about.
So we are starting a new, both federal and state implementation of new tax ideas, right? We have a new governor and a new president, which means typically a lot of change, and this year is no exception. We did wait a little bit longer as the legislature was going back and forth as it related to what would stay in and what would come out of the big beautiful bill federally. And then Senate Bill 1 here, which includes business personal property tax provisions that will be implemented next year. So we have a lot of time still to plan, to better understand what's going to be counted as research and development credits, which the Trump administration is really hoping is a little bit more open and streamlined to facilitate some research and development here within the country. And then also, like I said, changing the floor for business personal property tax here in Indiana, which means that a lot of people who've had to file business personal property taxes in the past might not need to file those in the future. So there are a lot of changes. It's good as we come back and enter into Q3 to start talking to your tax preparer to understand have they had time to digest these bills and what are the implications for your business. I think it's also a really great time to kind of think about where you're going with your business and whether or not your CPA is a good fit or whether maybe you need to hire a CPA, right? There are some times when some of these new changes come into place where it's like, I could do this before, but I can't do that anymore. And so when we talk about finding a CPA, what we typically talk about is like, how do I go about doing that? And there's some general questions that people ask, high-level FAQs. We recommend, just like you would with your doctor, speaking to a few different practitioners. You can use Google, certainly, but you might want to use people within your business network. So talking to your banker, talking to your colleagues who maybe work around you, and making sure that you get some good recommendations to kind of start that search. So when you're evaluating and meeting with those CPAs, it's a great idea to ask them, what does their typical client look like? Are they familiar with your industry? Do they have other clients in your industry? Do they work with other CPAs? So sometimes they might not have a service that you want to take advantage of, but they partner with another firm or organization to provide that service. We think of that a lot when we think about those research and development credits, is getting an estimate, is sometimes a high level of expertise where they might work with an outside organization. And so who is that organization? Making sure you're looking at whether they're licensed. There's 9,500 CPAs in the state of Indiana, but making sure that they are actually still licensed, which you can do on the Indiana Professional Licensing website. And then if they're working with outside vendors on your work, making sure you're kind of looking at who those organizations are as well. What is their reputation? A lot of times those are national organizations. And so just making sure that they have a good reputation. So a lot of times people, when they find out what the fees might be, get a little nervous. And what we like to say is, there's opportunity cost and there's also penalty cost. And so as the complexity of your business changes and you go through, instances where you may need that outside expertise, the cost to not do it ends up being higher than the cost does for the engagement. And so we always suggest paying for that expertise. It usually pays off.
For more information on this and all of today's segments, visit our website. It's beoshow.com, but you can just scan the QR code right there and get to our site. Coming up next this hour, our Running Your Business Day-to-Day segment. Find out how to keep your company's secrets secret. And coming up later,
exactly. We have to model for children. We have to model strategies, how we think aloud, how to question as we go along. But we also have to have books that they enjoy and that they can fall in love with. And so when they can see themselves in a book, and it's they have that joy. It's like they connect with the characters or the topics. It doesn't always have to be all serious topics or historical. But just like my book, he's doing accidents. I have things like references to Black Panther, and I never saw how scholars, they will point it out. They'll be like, oh, I know who that is. And so having those different things they can connect with in the book is very important.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
welcome again. Legal issues certainly can be a daunting issue, but they are inevitably part of running a successful business day to day. Our friend Angela B. Freeman returns with more tips on protecting your intellectual property. Today we look at trade secrets.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities, running your business day to day.
So I'm Angela Freeman. I'm a partner and IP and patent attorney at Barnes & Thornburg. And today we're going to talk about trade secrets. Previously, we've talked about trademarks, we talked about copyrights, and we've talked about patents. Today I'm going to talk about trade secrets, and I'm going to talk about that as a counter or a comparison to patents, which we talked about previously. Many people think about protecting an invention, a new business model, a new asset by patents, and that's absolutely one way to protect a new invention. Another way is to keep it a trade secret or to keep it secret. And there are great benefits, pros and cons to both of those, and I want to talk about that today. So I did not mention, but will mention, a patent is for a term of 20 years. Once it goes off patent, it's free for the public to use and do whatever they want. So think about your drugs that are on patent that then go off patent, and immediately you've got the generic. That is the effect of what a patent can do. But the beauty of a trade secret is, beyond those 20 years, a trade secret can truly last forever, ever, amen. Think about the recipe to Coca-Cola, think about the KFC recipe. All those things have been kept secret for years and years, well beyond 20 years. But the issue is they have to be kept secret. If they are reverse engineered, meaning someone just happens to figure out how you do it, you lose protection and there's no recourse for that. Now, on the counter, if someone actually steals a trade secret, they come into your business and they steal secrets, then you have a right to enforce that, enforce protection and therefore sue them for infringement and otherwise. But you have to protect it. So the beautiful thing about trade secrets compared to patent is they're typically way, way less expensive to protect because you don't have to go through all the finances of getting a patent prosecuted, but you also have to enforce or implement internal and external measures to make sure that that trade secret is protected. Oftentimes that looks like making sure that not a single person knows the full trade secret. That maybe multiple people in the business know a small portion of the secret, such that all of them together are required to know the full trade secret. Putting in basic computer logins, passwords, timed out things that don't allow you to be in certain databases too long. Or also exit interviews. When people leave, I see so often large businesses who just allow some of their major inventors to just walk out the door. They never make sure they get their USB drives and get their downloads and make sure that they're checking to make sure no one's walking out the door with their trade secrets. That's very important. So a trade secret can truly be anything, but again, anything can be protected. What you really want to spend your time protecting are the things that will negatively affect your business. So things like customer lists, vendor partners, recipes. If you're a restaurant and you want to keep your recipes secret, that's a secret. Anything. A trade secret can truly be anything that adds value to your business or anything you would not want a competitor to know because it would give them a competitive advantage on your business. And again, that can truly be anything. So when you're thinking about what may I need to protect via trade secret, think about all the things you wouldn't want a competitor to know about your business. Pricing, again, vendors, suppliers, partners, those kind of things. Those are the things that I would suggest you consider protecting via trade secret. Non-disclosure agreements are important in all of these aspects. I talked about it with patent, that you shouldn't be talking about a new invention without getting an NDA signed. And similarly, if you're going out and talking to potential partners or potential investors, I mean, when we're talking about small business owners, that's a huge deal for investors. Making sure that when you're talking to these investors, they have signed a non-disclosure agreement. And I know for many small business owners, that is very uncomfortable. They don't want to ask people, particularly larger entities, to sign a non-disclosure because that may shoo them off or not make them interested. But if you want to protect your company asset, it is critical to make sure that as you're disclosing things, you have at least the protection that someone has signed a non-disclosure or confidentiality agreement.
Next week, Angela returns to talk about assignments, the transferring of intellectual property rights. See why you may need to do that someday and how best to handle it. This hour, when we come back, we meet a Purdue professor, mentor, and author, all in one, who has a passion for literacy and language education and writes children's books too. And coming up later,
the people that we serve. There's a variety of heating and cooling companies out here, and when a client chooses us, we get excited. I also like seeing the growth of my technicians and also the office staff. The loyalty that I have from the clients and the loyalty that I have from my office staff, those are the things that I hold true to myself. And I just appreciate the opportunity to be able to be in the community and provide a service that is, one, needed, is one that is appreciated.
Running your business day to day is made possible by Long John Silver's.
Make sure to grab that sunscreen and stay cool. It's gonna be a hot one.
For the summer days in all of us, Storm Track 8, presented by Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling.
Welcome again to Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Time to focus on an industry. Dr. Brianna Hogue is an assistant professor in literacy and language education at Purdue University. She's also passionate about inspiring young people to read, and she uses her own real-life experiences as inspiration for her children's book.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Industry Focus.
Yes, my name is Dr. Brianna Hogue. I'm an assistant professor of literacy and language education at Purdue University, and I lead the Purdue CDF Freedom School program at First United Methodist Church. It's a 6-week summer literacy program, and we offer that. Next week is our last week, and I'm all about literacy. One of my passions also is publishing books, so I write books, and so I started writing books in 2018. Yeah, so Chantrell is based on some of my former students that I had. One in particular, I was a first-year teacher, and he really gave me a run for my money. And so I learned a valuable lesson after that first year of teaching, and so I was always like, ask your age, straight line, we'll try that again, I'll wait, doing all those types of things. And so in the story, everyone's telling Sean to act his age, and he finally says, how can I act my age? And so it's just a lesson for children, but also adults to have understand children's innocence and be more explicit when we communicate with them and understanding. So that's what this is about. Yeah, it's definitely, AI is definitely some advances to that, but I have seen firsthand how children fall in love with reading through my summer literacy program. They get to take a new book home each week. And just to see that representation, yes, they have YouTube, yes, they have all the apps, but to hold a book, be able to flip through the pages and, have that read aloud, it's nothing like that. And so I think both are important. We do have Libby, read alouds and everything, but we still need that traditional sense of reading as well. Yeah, exactly. We have to model for children. We have to model strategies, how we think aloud, how to question as we go along. But we also have to have books that they enjoy and that they can fall in love with. And so when they can see themselves in a book, and it's they have that joy. It's they connect with the characters or the topics. It doesn't always have to be all serious topics or historical, but just like my book, he's doing accidents. I have things references to Black Panther, and I never saw how scholars, they will point it out. They'll be like, oh, I know who that is. And so having those different things they can connect with in the book is very important. So I think they have to be exposed to as many books, fall in love with reading. I teach my children to think about why the author made decisions. So doing those types of activities, connecting reading with writing. And I also teach them, when they watch Harry Potter and shows on TV, that started with writing. And I think they don't understand that connection. Okay, so you're watching this show or you're playing this game, that starts with writing. All of that is connected to literacy. And so helping them see the connection or the disconnect that if you want to do these things, you have to be good at writing and creating. And so helping them to, learn how to do podcasts. It starts with drafting and doing things like that, and writing for authentic audiences. Something else I do is a literacy competition every Black History Month, and our third year will be this year at the Black Cultural Center at Purdue University. And so we make it like a competition, essay contest, and we have them get a topic related to Black history. So when they can do things like that and they get recognized and an award, it gives them that confidence. Oh my gosh, I remember when I used to, win awards or get recognized. So that kind of motivates them. Yeah, so I am a self-published actually, and so it can be really simple to go through like self-publishing. You can go through, like, for example, Julia Royston with BK Publishing. She does a free consulting call, so you can contact her, and she can do anything from editing. Even like if you don't have the idea fully developed, she can help them with the writing of that, get their idea all the way together. She can help find an illustrator. So I know, like, it depends on what your needs are, but there are different companies. I know personally, Julia is a God-fearing woman, so she's somebody you can trust. And if she can't help you, she'll connect you. I went through like Fiverr, several illustrators to find an illustrator that I like that represented the children in the way that I like. So you can find affordable options in that sense. Yeah. So what brings me the most joy is to see a child that doesn't like reading, and they're like, I don't want to read, and they come in like that, and then by the end, they're like so in the book, and their parents telling me like they read so much at home, they are, I can't stop them from reading. And then also I work with college students, so seeing their growth as well helps me when they are struggling reaching a student, and then they like tell me that they are able to see the growth in their students, so that helps a lot.
Up next, we catch up with the King of Comfort, another successful Black-owned business. Mark Wilson is this week's success story. Welcome back. More than 20 years ago, Mark Wilson had a dream of starting a unique heating and cooling company that would provide service customized to the client. We caught up with him at the Indiana Black Expo Summer Celebration.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Success Story.
I'm Mark Wilson, owner of King of Comfort Heating and Cooling. We're a locally owned heating and cooling company, and we're here at Indiana Black Expo's Summer Celebration. This is our third year, and we had phenomenal success the last 2 years, so I decided to go ahead and do it a third year. Yes, we have actually grown since the last time we've actually did Expo, which was last year. We've added some more technicians and some more office staff. The last time you and I got together, the company has basically duplicated what I am and my technicians. That was one of my goals, is to basically create technicians that would be an outreach of what I am, and just pass on the knowledge and everything that I have. We're not a real volume type company. We like the relationship building with our clients. We have a wide range of clientele, but we like being able to take care of them. So I'm hands-on from either servicing, I'll jump on the phone, I'll come out to give an estimate. If a customer just wants to call in and say hi, I'm receptive to that. I enjoy the opportunity of being out in the community and people recognizing that I'm the owner of King of Comfort and that we're providing good people better service. Because not only am I an owner, I'm also a consumer. So I know how I would like to be treated as a consumer when you're giving service. Service is kind of a lost art anymore in any industry. And I pride myself on being service oriented in what we do at King of Comfort Heating and Cooling. One, the people that we serve. There's a variety of heating and cooling companies out here, and when a client chooses us, we get excited. I also like seeing the growth of my technicians and also the office staff, the loyalty that I have from the clients and the loyalty that I have from my office staff. Those are the things that I hold true to myself, and I just appreciate the opportunity to be able to be in the community and provide a service that is one needed and is one that is appreciated.
So my name is Jonathan Warren, and I am a co-owner, founder of Market Square Popcorn. Yeah, I'm Michael Barnett, and I'm co-owner of Market Square Popcorn.
Yeah, so we love the Expo. This is our 4th year doing the Expo. It's a great community event, and it gives us an opportunity to just show off our amazing popcorn.
So we do a lot of events around the city. There's a couple of places that has asked, since we met last time, they have asked for our popcorn, for whether it be donations. We've done a bunch of those. We're working with Heartland Film Festival, Indy Shorts. We've been giving popcorn for incoming directors and also producers. So just a lot of stuff in the city that we're doing. It's actually coming like weekly now, so yeah.
Me and Mike, we're Indianapolis natives. We grew up on the west side. We've known each other since junior high. Since we were 12 years old, we've known each other. He went off to Ball State, I went to the military, and then I went to Bowling Green. And then we linked up and we started Market Square Popcorn. And it's just grown ever since. We just built a production facility on 86th Street where we can sell online, and we also can do bulk and send all over. So my background is a food scientist. So I went to Bowling Green State University and I studied microbiology, and that's what got me into making all these wonderful flavors that we have at Market Square Popcorn. Popcorn is something that as a family we just grew up with. It's one of those things that at the game or wherever we're at home, our family just loves popcorn. So we kind of got into just flavoring it on the side and kind of testing different just iterations of the popcorn. And I have 4 boys, and all of them, they just devour the popcorn. So we would just test it with different flavors and different things, and then that's what kind of started some of the flavors that we have at Market Square Popcorn.
In February, we did a buyer's mission to Jamaica to see how our product fared in the Caribbean. So we had a lot of interest in it there. So we're going to work on some shelf life things, but we will be going global very soon. So.
In the weeks ahead, we'll travel to more local businesses as we celebrate Black Business Month. Our show airs every Sunday over the air on Wish TV and online at wishtv.com and through our new YouTube channel at The BEO Show, and all of those are free. We also post each of our 7 weekly segments on our website, beoshow.com. Check out the extended conversations on the Business Equity and Opportunities podcast every week. Lots of ways to connect with us. Please take advantage of all. And thank you for spending this hour with us. Join us next week for more Business Equity and Opportunities. Until then, I'm Scott Sander. Have a great day.
Business Equity and Opportunities is made possible by Bose McKinney & Evans, Eskenazi Health, Indy Biz Pass, Fifth Third Bank, Long John Silver's, and Lilly, a medicine company.